The American dream just got a price tag most people can't afford. While coastal cities demand six-figure salaries just to survive, there are places in America where a decent paycheck still means something, where owning a home doesn't require winning the lottery, where your rent doesn't eat half your income before groceries. The challenge isn't finding cheap cities, it's finding cheap cities that don't make you regret the move 6 months later, because a place can be affordable for a reason, and that reason usually involves crumbling infrastructure or zero job prospects. But here's where it gets interesting. Scattered across America are cities that broke the code. Places where low cost of living actually comes with opportunity, culture, and a future worth investing in. Real cities with real economies, rewriting what affordable living looks like in modern America. Number 10. Wichita, Kansas. If someone told you in the 1980s that the American heartland would become the last bastion of affordability, you'd probably laugh. But Wichita isn't just cheap, it's strategically cheap. The median home price hovers around $195,000, which sounds like a fantasy to anyone currently hemorrhaging money in Denver or Austin. Rent for a decent two-bedroom apartment runs about $900 monthly. The city made its fortune on aircraft manufacturing. Boeing, Cessna, and Spirit Aerosystems all have major operations here, which means the job market isn't just surviving, it's actually stable. The aviation sector alone employs over 30,000 people. But Wichita didn't just stop at planes. The city diversified into healthcare, education, and technology, creating an economy that doesn't collapse when one industry sneezes. While other cities were busy pricing out their middle class, Wichita kept its property taxes reasonable and its business climate friendly. Number 9. Toledo, Ohio. Toledo has a reputation problem, and honestly, that's working in favor of anyone smart enough to move there. Perched on Lake Erie, this city offers something most affordable places can't match: actual geographic advantages. The median home price is a jaw-dropping $140,000. Try finding that anywhere within 500 miles of a major coastal city. The automotive industry runs deep here. Jeep's main production facility churns out Wranglers and Cherokees, providing thousands of jobs with decent wages. But Toledo learned from the 2008 crash. The city pushed hard into solar energy manufacturing, healthcare, and education. Rent averages around $750 for a two-bedroom, which means even entry-level workers can afford their own place without needing 3 roommates. The cost of living index sits at 75, meaning everything costs 25% less than the national average. Number 8. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne doesn't scream excitement, and that's precisely why it works. This city figured out something that flashier places forgot. People need affordability more than they need Instagram-worthy skylines. The median home price is around $185,000, and the housing market is stable, not speculative. No bidding wars, no cash-only offers from investors, just normal people buying normal houses. Defense contractor BAE Systems has a major presence, as does General Motors. But the city also cultivated a growing healthcare sector and thriving insurance industry. What really sets Fort Wayne apart is the cost-to-quality ratio. A $200,000 home here gets you space, a yard, good schools, and low crime. That same money in most cities buys you a cramped condo with paper-thin walls. The average rent for a two-bedroom is $850. Number 7. Huntsville, Alabama. Huntsville is the wild card on this list because it shouldn't be cheap, but somehow it still is. This is Rocket City, home to NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center and the U.S. Army's Redstone Arsenal. The city is crawling with engineers, scientists, and defense contractors, yet the median home price sits at just $235,000. The secret is supply. While other tech hubs artificially restricted housing development and watched prices explode, Huntsville kept building. The city approved residential projects at a pace that matched population growth. Rent for a two-bedroom averages $1,100, which is still cheap considering the caliber of jobs available. Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and dozens of aerospace companies operate here, creating high-paying opportunities. And unlike some affordable cities that trade low costs for cultural emptiness, Huntsville has museums, restaurants, and a growing art scene. Number 6. Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis is gritty, loud, and unapologetic about both. The median home price is $170,000, making it one of the most affordable major cities in America. But this isn't some sleepy town coasting on low costs. Memphis is a logistics powerhouse, home to FedEx's global superhub, which processes millions of packages daily and employs over 30,000 people in the metro area alone. The city's location on the Mississippi River made it a historical trade center, and that legacy continues. Warehousing, distribution, and freight transportation dominate the economy, creating steady jobs that don't require fancy degrees. Rent averages around $950 for a two-bedroom. The cost of living is roughly 15% below the national average, which adds up fast. Lower grocery bills, cheaper gas, affordable utilities, it all compounds into actual savings. Number 5. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Oklahoma City went from being a punchline to being a case study in urban transformation. The median home price is $210,000, and the housing market is stable without being stagnant. This is a city that rebuilt itself from the ground up after decades of decline. The energy sector drives much of the economy, with oil and gas companies maintaining major operations here. But Oklahoma City diversified hard after the energy crash of the 1980s. Aerospace manufacturing, biotechnology, and healthcare now form significant parts of the economy. Rent for a two-bedroom runs about $900, and the cost of living index is 84. The city invested heavily in infrastructure, building a modern downtown, improving schools, and creating amenities that make living here feel less like a compromise and more like a smart financial decision. Number 4. Des Moines, Iowa. Des Moines is where insurance companies go to thrive, and that boring fact creates a surprisingly robust economy. Principal Financial Group Nationwide and Wells Fargo all have massive operations here, employing tens of thousands of white-collar workers. The median home price is $225,000, and the market is stable, predictable, and accessible. But Des Moines isn't just insurance. The city has a growing tech sector, a solid healthcare industry, and agricultural businesses that generate serious revenue. Rent averages $950 for a two-bedroom, and the cost of living is about 10% below the national average. What makes Des Moines special is the infrastructure. Good schools, well-maintained roads, functional public services, all the boring stuff that actually matters when you're trying to build a life. Number 3. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa made headlines when it started paying remote workers $10,000 to move there. And while that program is interesting, the real story is why the city had to offer incentives in the first place. Tulsa is dirt cheap. The median home price is $185,000, and rent for a two-bedroom is around $850. The cost of living is 14% below the national average. The economy is surprisingly diverse. Energy companies still matter, but Tulsa has aerospace manufacturing through American Airlines maintenance base, a growing tech scene, and a healthcare sector that employs thousands. What changed Tulsa's trajectory was a deliberate effort to build culture and community. The city invested in arts districts, renovated downtown, and created spaces where remote workers and entrepreneurs could thrive. Number 2. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh is the city that refused to die. When steel collapsed in the 1980s, everyone wrote Pittsburgh's obituary. Instead, the city reinvented itself as a hub for healthcare, education, and technology. The University of Pittsburgh Medical Center is now one of the largest employers in the state, and Carnegie Mellon attracts companies like Google and Uber to set up major operations. The median home price is $220,000, which is absurd for a city with this much economic activity. Rent for a two-bedroom averages $1,150, still cheap compared to any other city with comparable job opportunities. Pittsburgh has museums, professional sports teams, a thriving food scene, and neighborhoods with actual character. This isn't some stripped-down budget city. It's a real place with real amenities that just happens to still be affordable. Number 1. Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland is the most underrated city in America, and that's not an exaggeration. The median home price is $165,000. Read that again. For less than the cost of a down payment in most coastal cities, you can own an entire house in a metro area with 2 million people. Rent for a two-bedroom averages $900, and the cost of living is 20% below the national average. The economy is more diverse than most people realize. Healthcare dominates, with Cleveland Clinic ranking as one of the world's best hospitals and employing over 70,000 people. Manufacturing still matters, but it's advanced manufacturing now. The city also has a growing tech sector and a financial services industry that quietly generates billions. What makes Cleveland the top choice is the complete package. It's cheap, but it's not empty. The city has world-class healthcare, good schools in the suburbs, professional sports, museums, and a lakefront that actually gets used. This is a place where a middle-class salary still means something, where saving money isn't a fantasy, and where owning a home doesn't require generational wealth. These 10 cities prove affordable. Living still exists in America, but only if people look past the hype. The question isn't whether these places are cheap, it's how long they'll stay that way before prices start climbing. Because once remote workers and young families realize they don't have to choose between affordability and opportunity, these cities won't be hidden gems anymore. They'll be the next Austin, the next Nashville, the next place that gets discovered and ruined by its own success. The clock is ticking, and the window for getting in early is closing faster than most people realize, which means waiting another year might mean missing the opportunity entirely.